Hello, and welcome to this expert session on ThingWorx installation. My name is Jeremy Gorslin. I'm a technical support engineer for PTC ThingWorx. This expert session will cover the following contents: an overview of components, supported platforms and applications, a couple of installation demonstrations, including installing ThingWorx on Windows with the H2 database or installing on Windows with the PostgreSQL database, installation tips and tricks, including some solutions to common installation problems, installing on Amazon AWS, and an explanation of Java alternatives. And finally, we'll wrap this session up with a description of the new Linux installation script and a demonstration. The hardware required to install the ThingWorx platform is dependent on the usage of the ThingWorx installation. We recommend that you see the ThingWorx system requirements guides for more information and guidance. Operating system that's required to install ThingWorx is 64-bit, 32-bit will not work. Currently, we support Windows Server 2008 R2 Service Pack 1, Windows Server 2012, Ubuntu 14.4, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.1, and Amazon EC2 Linux. Other operating systems may work unofficially. These include Windows 7, Ubuntu 15, Ubuntu 16, CentOS 6 and 7, and Red Hat 6. Please contact PTC ThingWorx Tech Support if you have any questions or are required to work on an unsupported operating system. Oracle Java SE Development Kit 8, the 64-bit version, is required for ThingWorx 7.x. OpenJDK and earlier versions of the Java Development Kit are not supported. ThingWorx requires Tomcat 8.0. Version 8.5 has been released but is not supported with ThingWorx and is known to cause certain SDK security errors due to a difference in the new cryptography system. ThingWorx supports a number of databases, including H2 for small, lightweight installations, Postgres for larger or more enterprise installations, and SAP HANA and DataStax Enterprises for high availability installations. This session we shall focus on H2 and on Postgres. Here we see the basic ThingWorx installation platform with the OS, Java installed on top of that, Apache Tomcat installed on top of Java, a database, and finally ThingWorx installed on top of those. Extensions and external data devices can be connected directly to ThingWorx. The basic ThingWorx installation process looks like this. First, we download any required components, install the Java JDK, install Tomcat, configure Tomcat, install Postgres if required, configure Postgres, again if required, and finally install ThingWorx. So let's do an example installation of ThingWorx with the H2 database. Start by installing the JDK. You'll see here that I've already downloaded all the necessary prerequisites. I should also explain that I have time compressed some of this installation just to make it go a little bit faster on our session. I'm just going to be using the default locations. So that we've installed Java, we'll go ahead and install Tomcat. We want to set the TTP1 connector port to port 80 and add in a username and password. I'm just going to go with Tomcat for both of these since this is just a demonstration. Again, I'm just going to use the default paths. Okay, so we'll leave the check mark next to Run Apache Tomcat. We don't need to show me right now. Tomcat runs as a Windows service. It'll now start automatically. All right, so next thing we'll do is we'll go into the Start menu and configure Tomcat. First thing we want to do is set the setup type to automatic. Then we'll go into the Java tab, and we'll add the Java options from the install guide, and we'll take anything out of the initial memory pool and the maximum memory pool. Let's hit apply and OK. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that in the server XML file, which is one of the Tomcat configuration files, we want to make sure that we have this protocol specified on port 443. I'm sorry, on port 8443. You'll find the Tomcat install directory inside program files under Apache and Tomcat. So in our server XML, we'll find the line that corresponds to port 8443. There we go. That's coming it out, but we just want to make sure that was there. Keep any problems from Tomcat starting up. Now, since we're using the H2 database, we're pretty much done, other than we just need to get the ThingWorx war file into the Tomcat web apps directory. So we'll unzip the file we downloaded from the PTC support page. Copy the ThingWorx war file. Go back to our Tomcat install directory under program files, Apache software, Tomcat. And in the WebApps folder, we'll just drop the ThingWorx.war. Then we can open Google Chrome and surf directly to localhost/ThingWorx. The default username is administrator with a capital A. The default password is admin. Using those, we'll start up the ThingWorx composer, accept the one-time license agreement, and you can see that we're here inside ThingWorx. Let's go back to the middle of that installation and set up Postgres instead of H2. So what we'll do at this point is, after installing Tomcat, we'll install Postgres. Again, I'm just going to use the defaults here. I'm just using password and password as this is an example. You can use whatever you like. Port 5432 is the default. We'll use the default locale. This installation can take some time, and I've time compressed it to keep this session to a minimum. We don't need a run stack buffer for this example. Now, going back to the guide, we'll see that it will have us open up pgadmin3 and set a couple of settings inside Postgres. So first we'll click on our Postgres instance, right-click, connect, and then we'll right-click again and go to add new object, new login role. We'll call this TW-admin. And then definition, we'll add password and confirm it. Again, it's important to remember what we put in here. So now we're going to add the Postgres installation /bin folder to our system path variable. The easiest way to do this is to open a Windows Explorer window, go to the folder, under Postgres 94 bin. In the address bar, simply copy this, click on Start, right-click on Computer, go to Properties, click on Advanced System Settings, environment variables, select path out of this list, edit. At the end of the variable value, add a semicolon, and then paste in the address that we copied from the Explorer window. Let's click OK, 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 and we've now added it to the path variable. Now we're going to create a directory called ThingWorx PostgreSQL storage. This is the physical directory that Postgres uses for ThingWorx. It's easiest to do usually just in the command prompt here. It's important that you add this to the root of the directory where you installed Tomcat. So if you install Tomcat on the C drive, put it on the C drive. If you install Tomcat on the D drive, put it on the D drive. Right. Now we're going to unzip the Postgres installer, go into the install folder, and in here we have a number of batch and SQL files to set up the default database configuration. First file we want to look at is the ThingWorx Postgres bat. Under the table space location, we want to make sure that this line is the same as the directory that we just created. So C:/ThingWorx. At this point, we're going to want to run that ThingWorx Postgres DB setup.bat file. So we'll change our directory to the file that it's in. Before we go and do this, it's probably a good thing to go and check the security and permission settings on that folder that we created. There we go. We want to make sure it's not set to read only, and we want users to be able to have access to it. So we want to make sure we have full control here. So hit apply and OK. This will allow the batch file to run properly. How you set the security on your system is up to you. So here we go. We run this batch file. The batch file merely collects some information and runs an SQL file that installs users, table spaces, and database. All right. So now we have model and data provider schema that we can add just by running the ThingWorx Postgres schema setup.batch file. So we'll copy that name, go back to our command prompt, run that. This file runs 3 different SQL commands, so you will be asked for your Postgres password 3 times. And we make note of that here in the guide just in case. All right, the last thing we need to do is configure the platform settings.json. This is the file that ThingWorx uses to connect to Postgres. There is an example file that we can just copy and paste right in the installer. And we want to put that in a file on the root directory called ThingWorx platform. So we'll start by creating that directory. We want to make sure that we put that at C:/. Now that we have that directory created, we will go and make sure that it's not read-only, and we'll make it writable for users. And then we can just copy and paste that JSON file from the install package into that directory. If we check the contents of the JSON file, we'll find it has all the connection information for our Postgres database. If you have special settings for this, or you need to change them, this is where you need to do that. Finally, we'll skip the encrypting the password. You can look at that up yourself if you wish to look into that. So finally, we do the same thing as we did in the last step of the H2 installation and copy the ThingWorx.war file over to the web apps folder in the Tomcat install directory. Once we're there, we can open Google Chrome, surf to localhost/ThingWorx. Again, capital A administrator and admin is the password. That can be changed inside the composer. And there we go. We have a working ThingWorx platform installation tips and tricks. There are a few common problems when installing ThingWorx. A common problem is the platform will not start after installation, and there is a system ownership cannot be acquired error in the ThingWorx application.log file. This is caused by ThingWorx not being able to connect to the database. The usual cause of this is permissions on the ThingWorx PostgreSQL storage folder are incorrect, or the database settings in the ThingWorx platform/platform settings.json file are not correct. If you check those and correct them, this usually fixes the problem. Another problem on Windows is that Tomcat will fail to start and there will be a severe error saying address is already in use, JVM bind to port 80. This is caused by other programs in Windows or Windows itself being bound to port 80. The solution of this is to determine which program is born to port 80 and why, and to change that binding. There is a very good article on this process at the link on the screen, or you can contact ThingWorx technical support and we'd be happy to help you with this. Another common problem is that Tomcat will fail to start after installation or after adjusting some Java settings. An error will be found in the Tomcat log file that says could not find or load main class, followed by a dash and some Java settings. This is caused by a long dash, sometimes called an M dash, accidentally being put in with the Java options. This often happens when copying and pasting install steps from older ThingWorx installation guides, or when copying settings from MS Word. The solution is to go into the tomcat install/bin/set-environment.sh file and check to make sure that all the dashes in the Java variables are simple hyphens and not any other characters. Finally, there can be a problem attempting to install ThingWorx with Postgres on a headless or a Linux server with no GUI, since the instructions require pgadmin3, which is a graphical tool, to configure the database. Of course, pgadmin3 will not work in a headless environment, so we have provided support article 238565, which provides steps to complete the database configuration without needing a GUI. Please either consult the link on the screen or contact ThingWorx technical support. You may have noticed that ThingWorx supports Amazon AWS. Amazon AWS is a cloud-based environment that provides a selection of Linux operating systems. ThingWorx supports any installation in AWS and suggests using Ubuntu 14.4, which is officially supported. Installation is as described in the Ubuntu section of the install guide. The AWS platform provides the option of installing the database in the OS or having it hosted on Amazon RDS. Please contact ThingWorx supports if you have any problems or questions installing ThingWorx with Amazon RDS. We get asked what the alternatives command is in the Linux installation guide. It's possible for several programs fulfilling the same or similar functions to be installed on a single system at the same time. The alternative system aims to solve this problem. A generic name in the file system is shared by all files, providing interchangeable functionality. The alternatives system determines which actual file is referenced by this generic name. For example, if the generic user bin Java is called, the alternative systems will provide the desired Java executable, while other Java versions can still be called directly from their install points. It should be noticed that this can be done manually, but alternatives simplifies this process. For more information, please see this great blog from the Oracle webpage. Starting in February 2017, an interactive Linux installation bash script will be available. It'll provide fast and easy installation, typically less than 4 minutes depending on your internet connection. It supports ThingWorx release 7.1 and later. It gives support for multiple Linux distributions, including Ubuntu 14, 15, and 16, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6 and 7, and CentOS 6 and 7. Has support for PostgreSQL or H2 databases. Will allow for secure server installation with SSL certificate generation built in. allow custom user database and security settings, and will automatically download and install Java, Tomcat, and Postgres. This will be distributed in an open format and will be extensively documented for easy user customization. For more information or to download the script, please see Article 246181 or click on the link on your screen. Let's now do a demonstration of the Linux install script. First of all, on our test system, we'll download the ThingWorx platform. We will create an installer shell script file. We will use chmod plus x to make it executable. And then we will open it in gedit, which is a simple Linux text editor. And we will copy and paste in the script contents that we've downloaded from the KCS article. I like to do this way as sometimes you get problems with non-standard line carriage returns, which can cause problems. At this point, we'll run sudo sh installer script, provide our root user password. The script automatically finds the operating system we're using, which is 14.4. It checks the installation file to make sure it's okay. We agree that we're going to install ThingWorx platform with PostgreSQL. At this point, it takes us through the process of creating a self-signed SSL certificate. So now it's asking us for the usernames and passwords for the Tomcat manager, Postgres, that sort of thing. I'm going to use the defaults. You can change these however you like. At this point, the script goes ahead and installs any prerequisites that we need to do this process. That includes NTP, make, GCC, that sort of thing. And then it goes ahead and downloads the Java JDK from the Oracle website. The downloading the files is the longest wait that you have to do while running the script. All right, so it now unzips and installs the JDK. And now it's downloading Tomcat from the Apache site. It's setting up its own repro to download Postgres, setting up and installing Postgres. So that it has configured. It configures and restarts Postgres. So now it will have the users in the schema inside. Restarts Tomcat, and there we go. If we go to HTTPS localhost ThingWorx on the server, you'll see that we go straight to ThingWorx. And you'll notice that this installation was not time compressed. It went from nothing to a full-blown ThingWorx installation in less than 4 minutes. Same as in our Windows install demonstration. It's administrator and admin. There we go. We are inside ThingWorx 7 Composer. That concludes this ThingWorx expert session on ThingWorx installation. You'll find any external links referred to in this video on this page. Thank you again for your time, and thanks for choosing PTC.